Fancy getting yourself a new trap gun? This film will tell you what to look for in a trap gun. Welcome back to the shooting channel. I've picked two trap guns. I've picked a Lorona cheap trap gun, which is on the shelf for about £600. And I've got a Browning Pro Trap, which retails at over £3,000. And I wanted to go through each gun from stock to barrel and explain to you what the difference is between spending £500, £600 on a trap gun to spending over £3,000 on a trap gun. But I'm going to start with the Lorona. Pad on the Lorona, again, built to a price. It's fairly solid. It's got no recoil absorption in it. It's still dedicated as a trap pad, but it's just a cheap way of doing it. Moving on to the stock, fairly plain wood. Height in the comb, still the same as the Pro Trap, which is going to be, but just fairly plain wood. It has got adjustable trigger, safety catch, selective, fairly deep action. The fore end on the cheaper trap guns generally are a little bit more thinner, rather than on the expensive trap guns. They tend to be a lot fatter here, because when you're mounting that gun, you don't want the gun to throw about or jump about in your hands, so they tend to be a bit more slimmer on the cheaper. It's how they just take it. It's all they do really is slim down the whole gun to slim down the money. Floating barrels, again, 3/4 and full choke. So chokeways, barrels, generally the same thing. The only difference with this, it's not quite as heavy, so it will kick a little bit, and it hasn't got all the recoil systems in it. So that is the £500-600 trap gun. Now I'm going to go through over £3,000 trap gun. Again, starting from the stock, it's got the proper Browning Inflex trap pad on it, which again, if you see, it's very soft there. So it absorbs the recoil when you shoot the gun. Stock, lot nicer, but as you can see, generally the same as the Lorona, still got the height in the comb. The pistol grip is actually bigger, and it's built slightly more, got a little bit more detail in when the pistol grip comes round and as it comes there. But again, you're paying for that more detail within the whole gun. It's also got a palm swell on it, which again, a little bit more money when you're making the stock, so they put yourself a palm swell on it. Adjustable trigger, selected safety catch, like the Pro Sports normally, slightly shallow action. Trap fore end, which again, if you look, if I take it off, the trap fore end is actually quite thick there. So when it fits into the hand and you mount the gun there, it doesn't wobble about. You've got something in your hand. Again, this particular gun has got stock weights and barrel weights. When you're shooting trap, you can balance the gun to exactly what you want. Some people like the gun to balance to be more heavy in the stock. Some people like the gun to be more heavy in the barrels. Some people like the gun to be equal weight. Again, ventilated barrels, ventilated rib, different colour beads on the top of it, and 3/4 of a full choke, which is what a trap gun comes with. And that's generally stock to barrel what you get. Again, I've taken two trap guns that are affordable for the average Joe Block. So yes, you can go to Prazzi's, but they're going to cost you £8,000 to £10,000. I've picked two trap guns which are affordable to the normal Joe public. And the only thing I will say is the weight of this is a lot more than what the Lorona is. So when you mount the gun, you don't throw the gun all over the place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the Lorona up, and I'm going to go and shoot some DTL with it, and I'm going to talk you through the handling of the gun as I shoot the gun. So again, I've picked F Blue Fiocchi's 24 gram. Now on the Olympic disciplines, you have to use 24 grams for your trap shooting. You can use 28 grams at DTL. I personally would recommend using 24 grams at DTL. It just, the slightly softer cartridge stops the muzzle flip of the gun as you pull the trigger. And especially when you're shooting a cheaper trap gun, the muzzle will flip a little bit more because it's got less handability for the whole gun compared to the Browning that I'm going to try in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a couple and then I'm going to sit and talk about it. Pull. 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 So the first thing I think when I'm shooting the Lorona, balances very well. They've narrowed the rib, so the rib isn't quite as wide as a slightly more expensive trap gun, which I personally myself do like a nice wide rib when I'm shooting trap. And the recoil. But other than that, the actual balance of that gun, if you're looking for a cheap trap gun to shoot DTL, absolutely brilliant gun. Okay, it may recoil a little bit. The muzzle flip does tend to flip a little bit. You've just got to have a slightly softer cartridge. So generally, if you're looking for a gun and you want to get into trap shooting on a budget, it has a really good, it's really great value for money gun. Okay, you can do things to it. You can even, if you want to get less muzzle flip, you can port the barrels on it. So if you want less recoil, you just think about the cartridges you're using. So that's the cheap trap gun. Now we're going to go and shoot the Browning Pro Trap. So the Browning Pro Trap, again, first thing I think about, I see straight away is the weight and the rib. That's the first things I think before I've even shot it. Pull. 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 You see I hit that and the bloody dust came off of it. Pull. Pull. So the first thing I see with the Browning, again, like I said before I started shooting, ribs wider, which I prefer, and the weight of the gun. The first thing I see straight away is there's less recoil with this. So the more money you pay, obviously, the less recoil you get. And the stock, how they've put their stock, they've got it bigger there in the pistol grip, and the way they've got the palm swell, and the way they've carved this, it fits somebody's hand there. So the extra detail is kind of what goes in to making that gun balance well for it. So again, I can still see the £3.5 grand to £600 difference. But if you're looking for a gun to shoot trap to start with, don't be afraid to just spend £600 to £700 to start with. This is a great gun. If you can afford to go to £3.5 grand, then yeah, perfect, absolutely spot on. But now you know the differences the balance, the weight, the grip in the hand, that's what you're paying for when you pay that extra money for it. If there's anything anyone thinks I've forgotten with the cheap trap gun versus the expensive gun, please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think, or what sort of trap gun would you get? Comment below, let us see what you think. If you've got a budget, what money would you spend on one? I hope you've enjoyed this programme. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, join the membership for as little as $2.99 a month, and don't forget, go onto the Shooting Channel website, brand new, and get your 10% off our merchandise, and we'll see you on the next one.